ሰላም welcome to ETHCHESS recaps ዛሬ ፋሲካ የተካሄደውን የሀብታሙ ፋሲካ ቶርናመንት እናያለን ቶርናመንት ውስጥ በጣም አስደሳችና ገራሚ ጌሞች ነበሩ and አራት most interesting ብለን የምናስባቸውን አቅርበንላችኋል so thank you of course for Habtamu Fasika for sponsoring the event and making it happen እና alright what a video need d4 knight f6 and bishop to f4 so we have a London now zigar black የተጫወተው London line it is so weird so good nobody plays it right c5 black of course እኔ ነኝ ግን ያው ምንድነው የሚባለው የኔን ጌም ብቻ አይደለም ማሳይ of course ሌላ ጌም ማሳያለሁ so c5 እንቀጥል normal development move queen b6 እቺን ፓውን ያጠቃን now normally እቺ ፓውን poison ናት ግን of course there might be other ideas huh? Let's see so knight c3 and I capture best move no ግን ደግሞ ወደዚህ ትመጣና ኩዊኗ ትራፕ አትደረግም ወይ ትለኛለህ of course first thing ግን ፎርኩን ዲፌንድ ማድረግ አለብህ knight d5 only move by the way and now ኩዊኗን ትራፕ ለማድረግ white can push this pawn ያው ማምለጥ እንዳትችል ወደዚህ ማለት ነው በሮክ ስትመጣ or even ወደዚህ እንዳታመልጥ actually አሁን so attack ታደርገዋለህ ፈረሱን and after queen to a2 queen c1 very brilliant move ነው of course sacrifice ያደርግ ስለሆነ material ግን thus far normal position ነው queen on sacrifice ታደርጋለህ now aim position ታይ በጣም weird position of course ከለንደን የምንጠብቀው አይደለም you don't have a queen ምንድነው የሚባለው your pieces are like all in the back rank so how is black equal as you can see engineum equal ነው የሚሰጠው two moves ግዴታ መጫወት አለብህ e5 እቺን ቢሸፕ አክቲቬት ለማድረግ ከዛ ኋላ c4 ይሄን ሊሚት ታደርገዋለህ ይሄን ቢሸፕ በጣም እና of course now you have threats against this pawn አላ እዚህ ጋር white የተጫወተው ናይቱን በልቶታል ናይቱን መብላት ግን apparently inaccurate ነው እና አሁን ጌም ላይ የተጫወቱት ካፕቸር ማድረግ ነው which is a mistake ምክንያቱም immediately white ምን ማድረግ ይችላል መዝጋት ይችላል ግን of course እንደዛ ማድረግ ይጠበቅብንም best move እዚህ ጋር ቼክ ማድረግ ነው እና አንድ ላይ ከዚህ ያሳያችኋለሁ so ቼክ ካረክ በኋላ what can black do of course መዝጋት አይችልም ትበላለህ and it's going to be a fork እሺ so what else can black do as you can see either square let's go over here and now rook ትመጣለች ወደዚህ ማለት ነው now white queen ራሱ አሪፍ ስኩዌር የላትም like እዚህ ጋር መሄድ አትችልም እነዚህ ስኩዌሮች ምክንያቱም ፎርክ ትደረጋለች በእንደዚህ and of course እዚህ ጋር መሄድ አትችልም so one line is one either እዚህ ጋር ከመጣ በዚህ ትመታል you sacrifice the rook አላ of course እንደገና capture ካረግ there is all ideas of fork so once this happens immediately b6 bishop to b7 እቺን diagonal ቶሎ ትይዝና you go for the checks አላ so in this position black has a lot of activity of course it's equal again black has a lot of activity yeah in the game that's not what happened in the game what happened is I captured which is a mistake because of this move nice move እና አሁን white threat አለው እዚች ጋር የመሄድ threat አለ ምክንያቱም እቺ ሩክ አንድ ዲፌንድ ናት so discovery እንደ double attack pin እንደሆነ ልትቆጥረው ትችላለህ so immediately rook a6 ተጫወትኩ ለምንድነው of course in case እንደዚህ ከመጣ now I can just capture እቺ ሩክ ዲፌንድ አጥፖ ነው now this is a blunder obviously እቺን ፖን ይሰጣኝ ተጠቀም እና ኤም ፖን ካገኘው በኋላ خلاص game over ነው ማለት ይችላል ምክንያቱም immediately bishop b4 rook a8 rook a1 እና checkmate ማድረግ ይችላል ግን let's see how it's done first thing I castled this is the best move like immediately going for that attack አላ ግን ያው I was a little too scared king in center ላይ መተው so አሁን ዲከቾተ በኋላ this is game over again bishop b4 ከቾትኩ that's it but I play one more move which is d5 attacking the queen also activating the bishop along the way queen is igar matash now I go for this idea and እቺ bishop መከፈቷም አንድ ሌላ ላይን ሳሳያችሁ is going to be important so knight f3 now we go for the check zigar any move really is winning and after check this is a mistake zigarም ቢሄድ ግን አሪፍ አይደለም ከዚህ ጋር መሄድ ይችላል brilliant እንዲከበላ of course fork አለ ሲፈረስ በጣም menace ናት and እዚህ ጋር ከሄደ ደግሞ you immediately just go for the kill. Now this knight is pinned, so check, king goes there, check, king goes there, check, king goes there, and checkmate. but እዚህ ጋር ሲሄድ ደግሞ immediately ወደዚህ checkmate ይችላል. only move ከዛ this checkmate ይሆናል ማለት ነው. So obviously a very interesting line London ላይ, and yeah, this is game number 1. so ይሄ game number 2 ነው የሚሆነው. so this game again I guess from black perspective ማየት እንችላለን. alright, እሺ so እንጀምር. e4 e5, very classic mirror on the wall እንደ ኢካሩ እንደሚለው. anyways, so we have a normal Gucci pianissimo alla. from this move, this is the Gucci piano game. ideal d4 ለመጫወት ነው, not አሁን but at some point allowing d4, and ከዛ በኋላ of course white has a nice game that right now position equal ነው. now this is a big mistake, and the reason this is a big mistake, of course knight d7 is a miss. let's go back. The reason this is a a big mistake is you can already immediately go for a move like this ማለት ነው. so a sample line would end, more importantly, and mention ለማድረግ the second d4 is allowed, your bishop loses a tempo አለ አይደለ? so in DK, if you capture, your still bishop is under attack. now once this guy goes, now you can go for ideas like knight c3, defend this pawn, and or even try to attack somehow. At least you have the center space, and this is already a huge advantage. so this is a mistake. move order ትንሽ ሜስ አፕ አድርጓል, ወይ d6 ወይም ደግሞ ምንድነው ካስል ማድረግ ነበረበት ብላክ አሁን. now let's go. ግን still I think ፈጣን ብሎ የተጫወቱም ስለነበረ they didn't see. now knight d2, knight bd2 ወደዚህ ለመምጣት castle one. now bishop ተመለሰች. of course this is kind of again theory. so knight f1, d6, and now black opts to trade. እዚህ ጋር ራሱ አንድ strategic mistake ሰርቷል white. እቺን bishop እንዲበላ ፈቀደ. now black can trade over here. now the reason is indicated በኋላ no more d4 መጫወት አይችልም አይደለ? so the entire purpose of the opening እንዲያዘጋጅተው ምናምን ምንድነው የሚባለው የለም. so አሁን black ማድረግ ያለበት እነዚህ horse እና ቺ bishop some sort of attack ሲመጣ defend, and once they can defend ምንድነው የሚባለው there is no more ሊሆነ space advantage issue ሊሆን አይችልም አላ. so queen e8 I mean, that's also a good move ከፍ ለማድረግ ለመምጣት. and now you attack this pawn, defend. this is a nice move, a very nice idea, and purpose ደግሞ in a couple of moves ነው የሚመጣው. so knight h4 f5. now you try to trade the horses, of course. as much as you can trade Karak and everything gets traded off, this is going to be equal at least. Allah, white doesn't have any advantage anymore with this idea of d4 and everything. now this is a big mistake, of course. now as you can see, there is this brilliant idea to capture. it's a free piece, I mean it's a free pawn. the idea of king h7, so when this happens you can immediately just take first things first, piece hang እያደረገች ነው, so ሩክ ታሸንፋለህ. ግን even if you don't capture, this doesn't come with tempo አይደለ? so black can actually do whatever they want right now. anyways, knight captures, and now black is down a pawn. and እንዳልኳችሁ if black can trade off everything እዚህ ጋር attack ከሌለ ምንድነው የሚባለው no more d4 ideas. and of course አንድም pawn የለውም, center pawn ነው ያጣው white. so last space ይዛለህ and you go for the kill. you have an advantage, you're basically winning. g5, h4, not that great of a move. እንዲህ ትገፋና እንዲህ መብላት ቻለ, which is exactly what happened in the game. or not even መብላት, you can even just go for it. of course ምንድነው የሚባለው engine also like this move, I think. እቺንም ይወዳታል. this is the best move. yeah, of course ሁለት pawn አለ, you're going to win the game አላ. oops, let's go here. after check I don't like this move, and you can just trade. Again, if there is no queens, now this isn't exactly great. የምታዩት ከሆነ ቺ ቢሸፕ ከቀደም ጀምሮ ቺን f7 ፓን እያየች ነው። So after trade አሁን ያጣል ይሄንን ፓን, and the game ends in a brutal checkmate. So this was a short game, just like the other game. This all came down to this idea, I believe. This is a very nice nuanced idea. King h7, of course. D4 already የለህም, D6 የለችም እቺን pawn defend ለማድረግ. So center ጋር you have to be very careful. And now at least you have some plans with D5 maybe. ግን ደግሞ all this setup Italian ያለው D4 enable ለማድረግ ነው. So this isn't exactly always that good. Some position ላይ ሊሆን ይችላል. Anyways, nice idea with knight captures on E4. And now this is game number 2. So this is going to be game number 3. So አሁን እዚህ ጋር white and black አለ. With white pieces it's Yosef, and with the black pieces it's Nega. Okay, let's see the game. Again, with white perspective, white slowly ያሸነፈው game. So E4, and they play the Pierce. Now, to be honest, personally, እንደዚህ አይነት modern systemoች G6 እንደዚህ I'm not a big fan, because በጣም restricted ነገር ነው እና space የለም. In space በጣም important እንደሚሆን ታያላችሁ later on as well. So normal developing moves right now, nothing of sort. Inaccuracy ይለዋል engine. It wanted C4, እንደዚህ space queen side ላይ መያዝ ይሻላል ነው, ግን A4 also nice. You're taking space, that's the idea. So G6, rook E1, and now you go for E4. Yeah, you have space, you can do whatever you want. Captures, and knight to D5. And now this is a nice idea. But this move basically gives white an advantage. Now it attacks the horse, it attacks the pawn. Horse'un መንቀሳቀስ isn't አሪፍ, እቺ ትበላለች, and black cannot castle anymore. Artificially castle ለማድረግ ይችላል, ግን the light squares are gonna be weakened as well. And of course you have all the pieces in the middle. You're not gonna let them castle. No, knight g5 attacks the pawn, and this is not the right way to defend. Again, you have to go forward. By bishop need defend ታረጋለህ, ወደ ኋላ ስትመለስ space ለwhite እየሰጠህ ነው, and that's not a very good move. Now you can go queen to f3, go for the kill, go for the weaknesses. This is again not a very good move. You're going back, you're restricting, you're blocking the bishop. This bishop cannot do anything. So now white has space, white has time. So time slowly you can just play. Now the engine doesn't like this move. It just wanted to win more time እንደገና with bishop to f4. Again, of course, time in a sense tempo ማለት ነው. You can just go for it. Now all of this is good, restricting. አሁን እንደዚህ fix እያደረግኩ ነው፣ መንቀሳቀስ አይችልም. And now you can go for the kill. There is no longer any issues. You have all the time, you can go and attack. Now this move, really normal moves. You're just bringing the pieces. I mean, what else is there? There was a threat against h2, by the way. Now this is the big mistake. Now this is committal move. ምክንያቱም G pawn የከፋ ነው in front of your king. castle ለማድረግ it's impossible. Already space እዚህ ጋር ይዘናል፣ እዚህ ጋርም space ይዘናል. So just have to wait and see what happens. Maybe እንደዚህ መጮት ትችል ነበር, and just wait ባጭሩ። ግን now እንዲህ ከገፋ በኋላ C4, again grabbing space, and now you take and go for queen h5. This is it. king would ደርሶባል። ግን still እንደዚህ አይነት advantage ኖሮ convert እንዴት ነው የምታደርገው አላ? So Yosef played rook d1. Nice idea. ቀጣይ እዚህ ጋር ለመጮት ነው, and discovery with the horse. You had to go back, of course. The queen was attacked, and now you go for this, for discovery. So this even is a discovery winning the queen, so you have to be careful. On a cheap pawn, you can go for it. f4 the engine doesn't like, for various reasons. You can just go check, and now the engine argues, well, the king can just run, so there's nothing really. Now king safe, no problem. So but that didn't happen. This is a big mistake. Lemondon, all your pieces ከኋላ ነው ያሉት አላ። and capturing with the only active piece that you had. This bishop ብቻ ነው active piece ያለው for black. Of course እቺም knight menace ናት ግን ደግሞ እንዲ capture ማድረግ now you're just allowing white to go for all these ideas, right? So now this is a mistake. You go to f1. Now you want to open the position up. You have the space, now you open up all. And over here there is this fork of the pawns. Not really a fork, but you can call it a fork. First capture to open up the rook, and then you go for the fork. And what black did is they went to h5, and in this position anything is winning. Gandamo, you want to rip open the king, so you capture on f6 with the rook. Now this is this is a brilliant move. The reason is if this capture, now you go pin and win. It's very hard to defend the horse, but this now allows white to have a forced checkmate in 4 moves. If you can see it, you see it. Of course, the idea is first check, and once the king goes check, then you pick up the rook, or እንደዚህ ከመጣ ደግሞ ትበለዋለህ, and that's checkmate, right? So instead of that, again, Yosef played captures, which is also good enough. ከበላ በኋላ now you go again for the kill. Rook f1. Maybe እንደዚህ ከመጮት እንደዚህ ብትጮት አሪፍ ነው ምክንያቱም the second decent head you can go for this, but then again it's just checkmate. እንዲ ምንድነው ይባለው queen h6 check, and then you go for something, right? Anyways, that didn't happen, of course, in the game. In this case, you just go pin and win, and in this position, black resigned. Nice game. So this was game number 3, of course. It all came down to how you open up the position. So you sacrifice material to now no more defense. They act like they're defenders, but they're not really doing anything. So a very nice game. Game number 3. So this is going to be game number 4. Now, scouts as I got 3 number of games, they are relatively short. This one is going to be a bit long. So let's check it out. Again, we have e4, e5, and we transpose into a Guccio piano game, right? This is a very theoretical game. Like, impressively, both sides theory በደንብ ያውቃሉ until like let's see. So castles, h3, h6, knight bd2. Now bishop to e6, right? So until like move 10, this was theory. And in this position, you can do a lot of things. You can play b4 to take more space, or even just capture and then play b4. You're taking space. And like you remember, if there's a space, there's counterplay. Not just counterplay, you're better. You have all the advantage. So black is rerouting the horse, of course, anywhere, maybe here. And now knight h5, aiming to go to this f4 square, rook a2. This is such an interesting move. Now, in hindsight, you can just play any other move and say, well, actually, what can you play in this position? ምንም clear የሆነ idea የለም, ግን clear የሆነ threat አለ. The threat is this guy. እዚህ ጋር zip እያደረገች ነው, and if you can see, black ሁሉንም ፒሶቹን on f2 attack እያደረገ ነው. So you defend. Knight f4. This is a very strong knight, so you just capture it. And after queen captures, remember, not d captures, because that just gives white all the space, and black doesn't really have anything to play for. So queen captures. Now in this position, b5, taking more space in the queen side. Now this is a big mistake, and the idea is queen a1 apparently. Of course, natural move ለማለት ይከብዳል. queen b6 ነው የተጫወተው to attack this weakness. Again, queen a1 forces black to defend with like a move like knight f8. እና knight f8 ከሄደ በኋላ as you can see እቺ ሩክ አታመልጥም። እቺ ሆርስ እዛው እንደተቀረቀረች ናት። በኩዊን እና በሩክ ብቻ ቼክሜት እዚህ ጋር ማድረግ ይከብዳል, because there's a lot of defenders አለ አይደለ? Now they have all the space, and you can defend this pawn further, and you can just go and have a nice game. Instead, queen b3 was played. እቺን አታክ ለማድረግ ያው በሩክ or በqueen I think የሚሻለው in this position is to try and defend with the queen. Actually it's very hard to suggest, maybe even go for some sort of a trade while the rook is here. አሁን እቺ ሩክ መጥፎ ሙቭ የሆነችው እቺን ሩክ አንዲፌንድ ታደርገዋለች አላ so you can go for pressure and normally rook whoops sorry about that what's going on nope okay yeah now normally rook a1 to ጮትና how do you stop, like how do you defend? Now you have to go back and everything is good. In this case there is one tactic, a very interesting tactic, and it's this move, bishop captures on f2. Normally you wouldn't look at it, what's the idea again you capture on e2, and after you capture ichi rook pins this knight so you can take your piece back. Of course you want a desperado ነገር አለው white where you can capture nice double exclam you can capture, and once this capture this is a draw. I mean white space አለው still ግን piece የለውም ያለ piece ደግሞ play መፍጠር ይከብዳል. Okay, this didn't happen. This is the only defense by the way for rook a1. That's the reason it's a miss. Draw ስለሚሆን after this ማለት ነው. But ከተመለስክ now black is obviously winning. Milky chin idea ayat መሰለኝ went to h1. Again, I am making a lot of mistakes like this game. Nope. Okay, where h1 ሄደ, and black doesn't really have any good moves here. You can try to sacrifice the two pieces for the rook over here and say okay I might have something. Again it's very hard to say. ግን g5 immediately lose ነው የሚያደርገው ጌሙን ምንድን ነው ይባላል g3 ከዛ ኋላ queen trap ናት የትም መሄድ አትችልም of course, and basically this is where the game ended. ግን let's see how Milky converts. I mean it's quite easy to win up a queen, and over here again በጣም restrict አድርጓቸው ነበር አላ both of your rooks they're doing excellent job. Even right over here በሀገር እንመለስና ትንሽ Vagar g5 የተጫወተው የሆነ play ለመፍጠር ነው አላ ግን by the way white is Milky, black is Vagar if I haven't mentioned that. Play ለመፍጠር ነው ግን ደግሞ play ለመፍጠር still of course you made a blunder. So now this is sacrifice, and this is a very clean, not clean, I'd say relatively trivial way to win. And after some moves black was checkmated. All right, this was game number 4.